All right. Hey, good morning, guys. Dan here, tradingology.com trading room firing up. We got a couple guys already rolling in. Someone named Laptop. That's fantastic. I love it. Good to see you guys. How you doing this fine Thursday on the fun 9/19/19? So we're going to have fun with numbers today. I actually wiped out my workspace, so I'm reverted back to an old one. I don't have all my other deals loaded yet, so I have to do that later today. So it'll be fun.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Dave. How you doing?
Good, good. I'm getting used to doing this on my laptop.
I was just going to say your laptop, huh?
If I sound tinny, yeah, that's the reason.
Nope, just different. I wasn't expecting to hear your voice suddenly when I didn't see your name pop up yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you're just signed in as laptop.
Ah, yeah. Yes, I'm signed in as laptop. Yes.
Good morning, Andre. Good morning, Nisham. Good to see you. Welcome back, Dave. We missed you Tuesday.
Yes, I missed you guys too.
We soldiered on though.
Yes, I'm glad you did.
I made these guys live through just Dan talking for 45 minutes, so it was a good time.
Yeah, awesome. I'm sure you guys enjoyed that very, very much. Sham, good morning. Anorig, good morning. Thank you, Anorig, for the texts and the articles that you sent me. I really appreciate that. Andre, good morning.
Morning.
Voltaire, good morning. Greg, Isaac, we got a full crew here.
They're coming in. I like it.
Nice.
Yeah, I was just mentioning quick. I went to right click on one of my workspaces yesterday and I realized that you can't right click on them. So it automatically loaded the one that I was clicking on and I didn't have my current one saved. So I was like, oh no.
Uh-oh, uh-oh.
So everything that I had with all the new stuff, I got to rebuild again. So this is like a super old workspace that I did for this morning. So luckily all I did was traded the Vol Arb and I was perfectly happy.
Okay. Yeah, I just saw you uploaded a video, Ball.
Yep, I wanted to record this one while I was doing it, and you'll hear it for the guys that pull it up. As I did a quick recap where I used the TSA setup for the morning. That majority down bias, but a lot of activity on that 4-hour chart that I wasn't liking. So we had more activity overnight than we had yesterday during the open session.
Right.
So I was like, that's kind of leery on my head, but I was looking, nice continuation setup here though on the 2 bars. So I was definitely biased to the downside, which is what the TSA referred to as well. So I was thinking down, but I was like, ooh, I'm kind of cautious here with that overnight activity. You never know, right? Then I started looking at Eric's, I was going to call it symptoms, but formulas, whatnot. And I said, all right, yeah, we're kind of lined up for a nice short here. So I'm expecting a bump up. So I actually entered prior to that bump up. So I was like, okay, we're lining up. We're down. So I used micros today, right? Because I was leery about the overnight trading. So I just entered 2 micros here. I saw the pop, watched on the 1 and the 5s, and I said, all right, add 1 more contract because we're coming down. I was expecting that pop, just didn't know how much. So we wrote it down with 3 micros, and they said, yep, this is beautiful. These are the only ones I was watching. Nothing else was loaded. We came down and hit this fifth column almost. I said, yeah, that's enough for me. We'll leave it on the table. And here it keeps going farther, so that's perfectly fine. So it was an active morning for me.
I would say so.
Yeah, between recording that, getting it up on YouTube, sending out a tweet, we've been all over the place, rendering videos. I'm like a machine this morning.
Wow. Man, if you could bottle it, just take a little sip before each morning.
Right? Every once in a while it lines up, so today was perfect.
Well, we've got the market up, so that's it. I haven't gone through all of the last 4 years of the YMNQ trade yet, but on the spreadsheet. But it seems like there's a pretty good trend that when the market is up, the spread is down, and that's another little thing that we can kind of count on. It doesn't always happen, but the chances are better 50 than 50-50 that they will, in fact, the spread will go down. Voltaire says, great session with Brad Kimes. Yeah, you guys made me buy more XRP. Well, it was fun. It was a terrific session. He did everything on his phone. I'm not sure how the volume and the audio was, but I'm glad you enjoyed it, Voltaire. It was a lot of fun. I guess I'm going to be on again in a couple of weeks. We'll see how the economy kind of shapes up, but everybody seemed to enjoy the insights that Brad and I gave to the audience, and it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, fantastic. For those guys that don't know, that was he's got a YouTube channel, Brad Kimes, Backup Bradley on Twitter. What if you haven't seen him yet?
Yeah, and the YouTube channel is at Backup Bradley Investment Perspective. So if you search for either one of those, you'll find him. He's getting close to 10,000 subscribers, so he's got a fairly large audience. He's doing a show tonight with Dustin Planthold, who is at lifestough.com, and he interviews Evander Holyfield. He interviews a lot of business people and people who have gone through tough times and succeeded, and it's very inspirational. Dustin Planthold does a great job of interviewing people for success and kind of inspiration and things like that. And they're going to be interviewing Roger Ver, who is the creator of Bitcoin Cash. So it should be very, very interesting tonight. Anyway.
Cool. Crazy.
Yeah, Voltaire, you can actually, keep us posted. I'll log into this. Okay, I'm not sure what you're doing. But, we can talk a little bit about XRP, a little bit about the market, Bitcoin, and stuff like that. Last night, boy, I tell you, I hit it absolutely perfectly. I sold my Bitcoin at $10,155. My wife texted me because she's not here. She's not in DC with me. She's still back in New York. She texted me at midnight and said, "Bitcoin dropped $500. Buy it back." I said, so I went in and I saw it hit like 9,600, and I couldn't get the bottom, but I got in at 9,761 and went long again. So hit it nearly perfectly.
You mean you were selling or buying? Yeah, selling your Bitcoin and buying XRP?
No, I had one Bitcoin. I had sold. I had a number of Bitcoin, but I converted all of them to XRP on September 10th. And then I had one Bitcoin though. I was just kind of hanging around, and I was, and XRP over the last few days has really gone up quite nicely. So that worked out really well. But then I was looking at Bitcoin. I had one Bitcoin left. I didn't sell all of it. My wife wanted to keep one, so I said, okay. Well, and that's kind of her trading account. And so last night I was looking. She goes, "What's it going to do? Is it going to go up or down?" And I looked at it, and I looked at my indicators because we had just created some indicators at Strong Market for TradingView platform, which we're going to start, releasing next week. And I said, "It's going down." So she goes, "Well, should I sell mine?" I said, "Yeah." But she, for whatever reason, couldn't log in. So I logged into the account and sold it for at $10,155. 2 hours later, or an hour and a half later, she calls me back. "Hey, it hit 9,500, which was my target because there's a huge pennant, a flag pattern on the 4-hour chart. And 9,500 was the low on that flag pattern or pennant pattern. And so I picked it up at 97.61 again.
Nice.
So we'll see what happens. It was a nice little trade. Not a big trade, but it's fun to catch the tops and bottoms.
Right. Yeah, it looks like we're back up 98.56 roughly on Bitcoin currently. So there you go.
Yeah, there we go. Very interesting stuff. I got a couple things to share with you guys today that are really pretty interesting. Enorgas, Dave, any opinion on this guy by the name of Teeka Tiwari? I have seen his videos. Who is he? There's kind of one that's been circulating around crypto Twitter and YouTube. He did a video with the famous talk show host. I can't remember who it was. You guys know who? Do you remember who that was, Anorg? He's a talk show host, and boy, I can't remember his name.
I don't see anything yet. I haven't heard of the guy.
Well, he's involved with Stansberry Research and Bill Bonner's group there in Baltimore and Florida. They put out a number of investment newsletters, and he's one of their newsletter writers, I think. He seems like Tika Tuari seems like a pretty solid guy. He had a really interesting video, and what they talked about mostly was the fact that Jamie Dimon had outed Bitcoin, said, it's crap. It's, you don't invest in it. He based it, and he goes through this history of Bitcoin over the last couple of years where everybody's downplayed it. Warren Buffett said it was rat poison. Jamie Dimon said it was crap, and all this stuff. And then weeks later or months later, we find out that they've been buying Bitcoin.
Nice.
And they're creating their own digital currencies, and they're doing all this stuff in blockchain. So on one side they're talking down, and then the other side they're buying it. But Tika Tuari seems like a pretty solid guy. I don't have too many opinions on him, except that what I've heard so far I like.
Well, there you go. Reviews by Dave. And we got Lieutenant Eric coming in the house. Welcome to Spine Morning.
Hey, good morning. So the spread. I have not traded anything this week except for the Bitcoin trade I did last night. That was it.
Yeah, it gets trickier when you're traveling, right? I feel your pain there.
Yeah, traveling. You're on your laptop. I'm busy with my son down here.
It's just not as comfortable when you're not in front of the screens.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, one thing Eric did email me that he's testing out his same deal that figured I'd give you guys a quick heads up as same deal's kind of working for lining up for the ESRTY form for signaling good entries and exits. So yeah, appreciate that, Eric. Thank you.
Nice.
I think he said he had 2 or 3 trades yesterday and it just kept running. And I was like, you're trading yesterday with that FOMC. Wild man.
Yeah. What did the spread do yesterday when the FOMC cut rates there?
Yeah, definitely rallied.
Well, yeah, because the market dropped. I was watching the market. I saw it was already down like 50, 70 points. And then when it came out, it dropped about 190, I think, at one point. So that means, that typically means the spread's going to go higher. Is that 2 o'clock right there?
Right there's the 1 o'clock for me, so 2 o'clock Eastern. You got it. The green bar was the one right after, so it definitely dropped prior to it.
Yep.
And then up and then heavy down. So obviously you see all the volatility, just the size of the bars. And then the announcement came out. I think there's the bar where he started talking, and it went down. After he talked, and went down the rest of the day.
Right, because the market turned around and it went back up, and it ended up, up 30 points on the day for the Dow anyway.
Yeah, it was funny to see green numbers at the close. It was like, wow, haven't seen that in a little while.
Yeah, and actually I mentioned that to toot my own horn here. Brad, when I was on Brad's show, we talked about what's going to happen at a quarter point cut, and he thought the market would tank. I said, nah, it's typically not what happens, because traders like those lower interest rates because they don't have to pay as much margin, and the market will probably go up. So initially the knee-jerk reaction was down, and then at the end of the day it went up. So
yeah, and then like we always say, right, it's already kind of built into the market. If we're expecting the quarter point drop, now if it would have been 50 or anything bigger, then yeah, potentially who knows what would have happened. But
yeah, a 50-point cut would have been shock. I think that would have been a shock. Yeah, you're absolutely right in that.
Good job, Eric. He says his trades were before the announcement. I like it.
Good. But yeah, so yeah, I can't wait to get back. I'll be back Monday in my office, and I'm looking forward to doing some trading next week.
Well, we'll get the good setups going for you.
All right, good.
I'll put my request in.
How's the longer term? How's the longer term chart looking on the spread?
On our
Is it?
daily,
Yeah. Are we down or up or what are we doing?
0.27 down on the day.
And what's the ratio from the spreadsheet?
We closed yesterday at 3,441.
Okay, so we're right in that area that we've been kind of looking at a bottom in that ratio, and you can see on the daily there. Holy cow! It's just kind of bouncing off that one level. It's been in a really tight range. Going back to July now. It doesn't seem to want to go below that 3.4 level.
Yeah, we hit the 3,399 back on the 5th.
Yeah, and it bounced pretty hard. Yeah, it bounced pretty hard off of that. All right. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that ratio there. Whether or not that is a very long-term support. This is the lowest it's been, I think, in ever. And there seems to be some support for it, which means, and the implication is that just total speculation on my part, guys, but as the spread has declined, it meant that tech stocks are stronger than the industrials. So we know that the Nasdaq is comprised mostly of tech stocks, and the YM and Dow is industrial, multinational industrials. And so and we've had that spread declining for years. We may be forming some base here. And if that's the case, then large institutional investors are going to start favoring the large international conglomerates and stocks comprised in the Dow rather than tech stocks. What does that mean maybe for the economy? I think it has some implications for the economy. In my opinion, when they start to abandon tech stocks, which are the high flyers, it's a risk-off proposition for institutional investors, and they're going into safety stocks, which are the 30 stocks in the Dow. Safety because those Dow stocks are multinational. They have a better hedge against some downturn in the economy, and especially in a recession. And tech stocks typically do not do very well in a recession. Anyway, that's just my opinion. And Erg says, Dave, you are spot on, I think. Thank you, Erg.
Eric's talking about it's the NQ, right? As we talked previously about how its relationship to the YM and how it's the pivot point. And yeah, he's talking about it's that 8,000 level. It'll continue to bounce off that. That's probably very similar to that 3.4 in the ratio.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. The psychological level there, 8,000. And
Andre asked quickly about adjusting. You don't have to adjust it every day unless there's a large move. So what I will do is I will look at, hey, where are we at once you update? Because all it's really going to do is it'll adjust what the numbers are on the right side and what you're looking at, but that doesn't really matter at the end of the day. What matters is, watching our indicators and the formulas. Unless there's a large change, it won't matter. The bars will look very similar if it's, only a couple thousandths of a % off. So if you got ADD, adjust it every day or once a week, whatever your cup of tea. I personally do it every day because I'm just silly like that, and I'm a numbers person. Or if I remember, I do, I should say. Sometimes when you get busy, you forget, and you're like, oh, look, I need to adjust that.
Yeah.
Or someone calls me on it. Hey, mine's this. I'm like, yep, you're right.
My spreadsheet was all messed up. Thanks for correcting that, Dan.
Yeah, it was fun. A couple clients had mentioned it, and which day was that? That was
30th August. It was August 30th.
Yeah,
I had to transpose the numbers there on the Dow.
Yeah, it was 26,403, and Dave had 043 or something like that. So he just had. It was interesting how it worked out though, because the following day we had the massive drops. You just had the massive drop a day early.
Yeah, it was predictive.
Right.
It's-
Swami was working or whatever. All right, Anuta's going to send you a bunch of stuff on Tika.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I appreciate that. Awesome. All right, a couple of things I've got to share with you guys, but I think the spread here. So have I don't know, did we do the spreadsheet in the new version of the spreadsheet for the ESRTY?
I have not yet, and it's funny you say that because Eric and I were also emailing about that because he was checking to see if I had a sheet, and I was going to use that as the new model. So I do have an old SPX RUT spreadsheet, but I was going to use this as our model and just displace the numbers, and I was going to use this as our formula. So Eric, I don't know if you started on it already. I know we just emailed yesterday about it, but that's in the works.
Yeah, you notice how the cross column bell curve is much smoother than the cumulative.
Oh, yeah, right.
Very nice. Yeah.
Overbought, oversold, nicely taken down, 11, 10, 9.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like a little bit better way to look at those peaks in the bell curve, at least. But it's slightly delayed. So what you're doing is you're looking at the overbought, oversold. Overbought, oversold seems to work pretty good. That's been an interesting indicator.
And today was a perfect example of the new version trumping the old version, because I do still update it just to watch it. Mm-hmm. Here we went from a 0 to a 1 on the old version, where we would have had an up bias just to start it out. Obviously, that's not the entire bias, but just our, the more data, higher sample size is coming into play and helping us out where we had a 4 to a 3.
Yes, absolutely.
So thank you for the fine Excel work once again.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. All right.
You got up your sleeve.
Well, ESRTY for sure, SLV DBC. I don't know if you've been watching SLV DBC, but I did take a peek at it the other day, and that is, it shot up there really quick because silver has been on a tear, and now it's pulling back.
Pay no attention to the bottoms again. Old Sharpie, yeah, absolutely. That's one thing I think somebody had mentioned. It took off, like you're saying, and then now it's coming back down there. Like, what happened to the slow and steady? Kind of went off to the races there for a while.
Well, see, this is that whole scenario with it's a whole scenario with what's going on in the economy, and hey, that's a great lead-in to what I wanted to share. One of the things I wanted to share with you guys today. I'm sure that many of you guys are kind of plugged into news sites and the economy, but a very, very interesting thing happened before the Fed announced their rate cut yesterday, and that for 2 days in a row, the Fed had to step into the money market and inject about $128 billion. You guys hear that?
What?
128 billion. The last time that they did this, they had to inject liquidity into the system. Basically, they printed money. So they're printing 128 billion new dollars. The last time that happened was in the 2008 financial crisis. Now, let me ask you, why? Now, the economy is supposed to be absolutely fantastic, right? It's supposed to be really good. And that's why they're lowering interest rates, which is a total lie. But why would they have to inject? What they did was they injected 53 billion on Tuesday. They injected another 75 billion yesterday for 128 billion total. The last time they had to do that was in 2008. And here's the article.
I got a fresh update for you, Dave.
What's that?
Hot off the presses, 3 days in a row, 75 billion more.
Oh, well, I think, really?
Yep.
Oh, it's the 203 billion now. Holy, oh man.
Hot off the presses.
Can you put the link in the chat for me? Let me check that out. That is crazy. So the last time this happened, was in 2008, and I don't know if you guys have memory of that or not. Um, if you guys were in trading at the time, but there was a morning in 2008 in which they had to inject 550 billion into the financial system. Otherwise, it was going to basically collapse.
Yeah, that was the too big to fail, the banks.
Yeah, and that was where when the market was declining. We were already down like 30%. And that's when they had to do that, because I remember the day they had guaranteed that, the money market funds were set at $1. It's almost like a stable coin. They're saying, okay, it's going to be at $1. It's tied to the dollar. It's $1. Money market funds are $1. That's it. They don't vary. They don't go up or down. Well, when liquidity was taken out of the market, the money market fund actually traded below $1. And it showed a lot. There was a huge withdrawal of funds from the system. 550 billion. They had to inject the 550 billion to make up the shortfall, to bring money markets back up to $1 to parity. And now here we are at the top of the market, lowering interest rates. And we've already injected in the last 3 days 203 billion.
And wasn't it almost to the exact day?
Yes. That's another thing too. It's almost the exact day, 10 years ago, right? Is it 10 years?
11, because it was 08, right?
11 years, yes. Okay, yeah. Right. Unbelievable. You can't make this stuff up. It's crazy. 203 billion, which is about half, just a little bit less than half the amount that we had to do back in 2008. But here we're supposed to be in great shape.
Yeah, Newrick calls out. Yeah, if anybody hasn't seen The Big Short, definitely watch it. That's a good movie for traders.
Yeah, it is really good. It is really good. I loved watching. And he's usually a funny guy, but he wasn't a funny guy in this movie. He was pretty serious about this stuff, and he went to interview the guys who were doing mortgages with hookers. That was pretty funny. So anyway, what do you guys think of that? What implications does that have? What implications does that have? For the economy? Unbelievable. And the market's up. Like nothing happened.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it like, no, things all happy, right? It's all green, but never mind what's going on under the covers. Oh, absolutely, Newrug. You know it is. It's just a matter of time. That recession is coming.
So this is pretty crazy. Will it be different this time is the question. Will it be different this time? Voltaire says, seems like we're happily walking into a cliff. It feels like that. It's just odd. It's just so odd. Why would they inject $203 billion into the economy? And when we're at the top of the market. So I think there's like a little bit of a euphoria that we've lowered interest rates a quarter of a point, with the appearance that the economy is doing fine. But somebody is withdrawing liquidity out of the market. Somebody's taking it out. Somebody's just making withdrawals, and the withdrawals are coming fast and furious. If you guys, this is not to be alarmist. I'm not trying to alarm you guys that the economy is going to collapse. And I think that if you guys follow me on Twitter, I posted a link to a Robert Shiller interview on Yahoo. And he gave some really interesting, you guys can follow me there. on Twitter. If he interviewed Robert Shiller, who's he's won the Nobel Prize for economics, and he's a professor at Yale University. If you guys haven't seen him, really, really smart guy. And he said he draws a lot of parallels between this time and 1929. But he also says that it's not going to be like 1929. He said stocks are overvalued like 1929, but it's not going to be that bad. Okay. I think he's probably right, because we have more safety nets in the system now than we had in 1929. But the liquidity crunch that we had in 2008 is not solved yet. It was never solved. And that's one of the reasons why I like XRP so much, and digital assets in general at this point, in not stocks, at least for the long term, because they do provide liquidity. They provide a communication channel between, you can basically transfer value over the internet, which is, the quickest form of communication that we have on the planet right now. And you can transfer value to anyone at any time, anywhere, as long as they have an internet connection or a phone. And it doesn't even have to be a smartphone. So anyway, Nurk says, in my opinion, it's highly possible the West is going to muster a war with Iran to divert attention from the economy. Ooh, I hate to see that. Man. Possible short setup forming, Eric says. Yes, I think so.
I think he sees his line lining up again.
Yeah, I think so too. You know what? I did do a short a few weeks ago. There's a triple ETF. I don't even know if I have the symbol up here. There's a triple. Maybe you can look it up. It's let me pull up a browser here.
Is this what you're talking about, Eric? While Dave pulls it up, watching your lines lining up, and now she's closing below again, where it just did. This one's kind of pulling back. I suppose we're up here right now, so. I wasn't looking for a re-entry after I got the bulk of that, so that was nice. You missed the beginning, Eric. Make sure you catch the recording or the quick 2-minute one I posted on YouTube. Kudos to you, man. You furthered the day, furthered the confidence in the trade this morning.
UPRO. UPRO. Pick, put a get a chart and pick up UPRO. I think it was UPRO was the one it wasn't SDS. The SDS is the other one. It's a 2X. No, it's Ultra Pro. It was UPRO.
UPRO. How do you spell that?
Just UPRO.
The letter U. Gotcha.
Yep, letter U, Y, PRO, UPRO.
Full Shares Trust, S&P ETF.
Yeah. SDS is the short one. We want the long one.
Oh, I don't need all that garbage on there.
Yeah, just do a daily. Are you calling our scripts garbage? Sleight of tongue there. Huh? Yeah, I know you had a lot of stuff on there. So we want to pick up the there it is right there. Here's this is something that I was going to do in 2010, and this is the reason. And this is a pretty interesting strategy if you are going to short the market. And this is not investment advice; it's just something that I'm looking at. But here's why 2X and 3X ETFs. I always stay away from them except for day trading. And the reason for that is because they constantly lose value. So the reason that they can do 2X and 3X, the S&P 500, it's actually 2X, 3X, the percentage change of the S&P 500. So right now, what is the percentage change on the S&P 500? It is, I can grab that quickly here. I think what do I do with that? Thought that I had that on here. 0.44%, up 0.44%. And what's that? It's up point. I can't read it.
1.3%.
Yeah. So it's triple, basically just about triple the percentage change on a daily basis of the S&P 500. And so, but that, if you hold UPRO long term, you'll actually lose money. So if you were long, even though the chart looks like it's going up, what they do is they readjust the chart based on the expiration of the futures contracts that they use in order to boost the percentage change, double and triple the S&P 500 cash index. But when those futures expires that they're using to boost the percentage changes, you lose a little bit of value in UPRO. And so it's a very, very bad long-term hold. So if you thought you were going to make money buying UPRO and just holding it over a long period of time, you're going to be sadly mistaken, because it continually loses values as those futures contracts expire. And so that's why UPRO is absolutely an excellent short in a declining market, because not only does it lose value based on the decline of the market in general, but it also loses value because of the future. I keep saying options. Future expirations come about, and so you're losing value based on the NAV value of UPRO itself. And so it's the perfect short. It is absolutely the perfect short. I mean, you could short just 10 shares of that, and you'd probably end up making a lot more money than you would in almost any other investment, because of the fact that it does triple the decline of a S&P 500 and the futures contract expiration reset. So anyway, that's just one thing that I'm looking at shorting on a long-term basis. And if you go back to that last peak there, I shorted it there. I bought it back about halfway down. I didn't go all the way down. I basically got out just above that a little bit, like 57 to 54. And I was just kind of testing the waters to see how it did. And it was great. I mean, the returns were just absolutely fabulous. And so if you're going to do anything in shorting the market and you want to hold it kind of long-term, to me personally, I'm going to start to kind of scale into a short position on UPRO, because once the market does go down, if we do have a recession and the market does start to recognize the fact that we're going into a recession, that interest rate cuts are a bad idea, and the fact that they are injecting liquidity into the market, this thing will be destroyed. Basically, I mean, even if the market went down 20%, this thing could go down to the teens, I think. Down to the teens. Yeah.
Eric says you can just buy SPXU instead of going short too. It must be the inverse.
Let's take a look at it. Is SPXU, Eric, is SPXU a double or triple X?
Right now it's negative 1.23, so it looks like it's
a triple. Yeah, it's going to be a triple because we're up 0.44 on the SPX.
Right. Yep.
The problem, no. See, that's the problem though, is that they, in order to get the 2 and 3x returns, they are in the market. I know it goes inverse to the UPRO, but it's not going to go up as much as it will as shorting the UPRO will.
Because they reset, like you're saying.
Yes, they reset it. So every time this thing goes down, and the market starts to go down and this goes up, they have to reset the futures contracts that they're using. And then there's contango. So you've got the futures contract coming to the cash value closer you get to the expiration of the futures contract. And so on a daily basis, they can triple it. But it loses overnight. I would not go long SPXU, in my opinion. You're probably gonna make some money if you do hold it long term, but I would rather short the UPRO, in my opinion, because of the reset, the loss of value in that, plus the decline in the. So if you want to hold it long term, UPRO is a better bet to short. in my opinion.
And so when you did this last time it previously peaked, how long were you actually in the trade?
I think it was, gosh, it wasn't long.
Gonna say if they got the reset fund, I don't know, a couple days or
yeah, a couple of days, and yeah. Yeah, it wasn't long at all.
Next week we got 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Excuse me.
It was just above 54 I got out, so it was like 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah, because they'll and especially as you get closer to the futures expirations there, boy, they loses value very, very quickly. Just my opinion. I mean, if you want to go long UPRO, that's up, or the SPXU, that's totally up to you. But I would not do it. I would not do it. I think there's a euphoria in the market right now, a little bit of euphoria that's not going to last long. In strong markets, signals, we're looking at an increase in the flow in the pipeline, which typically means increase in volatility. We'll see what happens today, but I think that we're going to see the market start to decline again, probably early next week. There was a bearish herding in the first column of the spreadsheet, and we'll see if that starts to fill out. There's still a good amount of bullish herding though, and typically that takes a good few days to work through the system before we get any kind of a major decline. But I think we're starting to see the herd change.
Look at that, Dave.
We got a signal it. Yeah. Yeah, bull trap. Got a bull trap there. So we'll see what happens. All right, the second thing I want to share with you guys before we conclude today is a podcast that you need to listen to if you're interested in cryptocurrencies. This is absolutely a fantastic podcast. The podcast is called We Study Billionaires. It's the Investors Podcast Network. This one is on Bitcoin math and value. We haven't really seen a lot of good valuation techniques. Valuation. Oh, that's a terrible URL, but oh, that's ugly. But it'll take you to the podcast. The guy who I'm not sure who the interviewer is, but the guy he's interviewing he's doing it anonymously because he's in charge of a several billion-dollar hedge fund, or not a hedge fund, but a fund of some sort. And so he talks about the stock to flow ratio of Bitcoin, which is interesting because stock to flow is typically a valuation model for gold and silver. And basically the stock is the amount of gold above ground, the current amount of gold above ground, and the flow is the number of ounces of production of gold on an annual basis. And so what he talks about here is using that as a valuation method for Bitcoin by saying, well, we haven't gotten all the Bitcoin mined yet. And so but we know how much is above ground. We know how much is in the system, in the float. And he uses that as a valuation model, which is really interesting. He said the current stock to flow ratio for Bitcoin right now values Bitcoin just under 10,000. Now this was 5 days ago. And Bitcoin at the time was above 10,250, 10,300 or so, which is interesting because his valuation model said that the valuation of Bitcoin is just under 10,000. Well, last night it dropped below 10,000. As I mentioned, down to 9,600. But what he says about a very important event that's coming up next May in 2020, May 2020, is the halving. I can't say that without sounding weird. Halving. It's half of the normal rate of rewards for mining Bitcoin. So what happens is when somebody mines Bitcoin, they get rewarded with Bitcoin. And so people get the Bitcoin, they mine the Bitcoin, they get the Bitcoin. But that value of the reward for mining Bitcoin is going to be cut in half next May of 2020. And so his valuation based on the stock to flow ratio of Bitcoin right now is just under 10,000. But as we get closer to May 2020, the halving of the reward in Bitcoin will send that valuation to 8 to 10x, which means that he's going to be valuing after May of 2020 Bitcoin to 80,000 to 100,000 per Bitcoin. Amazing. I mean, if his valuation model is correct, I listened to his methodology, and it sounds valid, very valid. In fact, it's probably the best valuation method I've heard of to value cryptocurrencies that I've ever heard. It's very, very good. I highly suggest you guys go and listen to that.
Interesting. Very interesting.
The next halving of Bitcoin is in 2024. And he says that the stock to flow ratio at that point is going to jump another. I forgot what the X value is, but essentially you're talking about a Bitcoin valuation of $600,000 to $1 million.
No way.
Yeah. Yep. I think it could happen. I honestly think that is a potential. Especially if we get a recession, I think that's quite possible. And that's why I think I'm always going to hold at least one Bitcoin, even if my wife wants to trade it.
Just in case, right? Exactly.
Yeah. All right, guys, we got a few more minutes for questions. Anybody want to chime in and have some questions answered?
Oh, Sean was asking about an email that went out on Tuesday when I was traveling that I didn't see about Strong Market talking about a live trade room. He just threw it in the notes there too.
I don't know anything about that.
That's exactly what I said.
Oh my gosh, what?
Apparently the email went out that Strong Market was talking about hosting a live trading room.
Oh, I think it had to do something. They were just doing a survey of their subscribers and clients at the time. I think Jay sent that out before I took over. Basically, just kind of getting an idea if anybody would be interested in doing something in a live trading room. But the responses were not. I don't think they were very strong. So we're probably not going to do it. Yeah, I do recall that going out, but I don't think so. It's not going to happen.
Sorry, Sean.
Yeah, sorry, Sean.
V, Nano S, in my opinion, is perfectly fine. The X, I think, adds more memory so you can hold more cryptos, but I don't personally hold that many cryptos, so I don't go with the X. So either will be fine, but the S is perfectly fine to hold it offline.
Yeah, I don't trust the Bluetooth aspect of the X myself.
Yeah, I don't need it. You know, I'm not going to be transferring my crypto over Bluetooth. No, thank you.
Yeah, I don't think that's I don't like the idea. If you have a Nano S that's full and you can't put any more on it, I would just get another Nano S, so get 2 of them.
Yeah, get more than 1. I've got 6.
Yes.
You never know where you have to hide them.
So you got decoys.
Right?
You can buy some extras decoys. So if anybody breaks in and tries to hold you hostage, yeah, there it is over there.
Yep, here's my ledger. Yep.
Yeah. That's funny. That's funny. I was joking on Twitter one time with somebody. I said I have a Nano S that has guards on it. So I mean, I have a full-time staff of guards on my Nano S. and people were like, what are you talking about? How can you afford full-time guard on your Nano S? And I said, very easy. I bury it under a tarantula case in the dirt under the tarantula.
That's fantastic.
Number of tarantulas.
Nice. All right. Well, we're about time for the wrap. Any last minute questions, guys? And we'll get ready for one more weekend. I'm going to break the camper out one last time, and then we're going to put it in storage at the end of the month. So we're hitting the road again tomorrow.
Ah, nice. Last trip of the year?
Yep, last one of the year.
Good for you. I'll be driving back to New York on Sunday.
Your nice, pleasant drive upstate. Thank you, Sham. I absolutely will. We have a good time camping.
Yeah. Send more pictures.
Yeah. Did you see my background there, Dave?
Yeah, the pictures are absolutely fantastic. They're spectacular, really. I mean, that's just an awesome picture.
I still look at that. I'm like, I can't believe I was there.
Yeah. Can you send that to me? The full version. I would just love to have that as on one of my.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll shoot it over to you.
All right, thanks. Yeah, that's spectacular.
Appreciate it, New Rug. Copyrighted, yeah. Copyrighted background, too.
Yeah.
Voltaire, that is up in Jasper National Park in the Rocky Mountains in Canada, in Alberta, Canada.
Yeah, insane. I mean, imagine the glaciers that flowed through there to create that.
Oh, right. We got to walk on one of them.
Massive. Wow. You know, it reminds me of the scenery in the Lord of the Rings movies or something, you know?
Right. Yeah, we had just came up this road, so this is the one road that's coming through the mountains. So we drove up this, and then we came up, switched back a little bit, and then there was a nice off the side of the road. Yeah, Banff is fantastic. This is just north of Banff.
Beautiful.
So a little ravine that they built that bridge over. That's an amazing area. I've never seen anything like it.
Looks fantastic, yeah. All right, guys. I hope everybody has a great weekend, and we will see you again next Tuesday.
Sounds good, Dave. You have a safe journey home, and we'll catch you next week.
Thanks. Have a great camping trip.
Thank you. Take it easy, guys.
Bye, guys.